Hey guys, your crazy coach lady Amanda Trombley here, and real quick I want to chat with you about some of the key points in creating that emotional evolution and sustaining some mental wealth in your life. Now, there's a ton of videos out there, and there's so many different good tips and tools to use when it comes to really unleashing that soul fire freedom that we desire inside. And one thing that I see that we are so attached to and is really holding us back is our lack of experimenting and our lack of consistency. Now, when it comes to experimenting, we typically move towards these elements in our lives which we're already comfortable with. When it comes to dealing with anxiety or overcoming depression or moving through and creating such a wealthy mindset, we move to these areas and these elements of our lives that we're comfortable with, and we start taking action there. So if we have a psychology-based background, we're going to move to the actions that cause us to look at things like our cognitive distortions or our coping skills or our subconscious programming, because that's psychologically based. Those are things that we understand, those are things that we comprehend, and those are things that are easy for us to understand and to begin to implement in our lives. But if we want to really explore, if we really want to unleash and not just live comfortably, not just live the way that we desire to, but really unlock something special within our own mental wealth, we have to begin to experiment with the ways that we're not so familiar with. For me, even though I had a psychology-based background, experimenting with the law of attraction really wasn't something that felt good to me in the beginning because it was just so simple. And I was somebody who had suffered for so long that thinking positive, being positive didn't exactly compute in my head. I also grew up with a recovery-based background where they say move your body and your mind will follow. So this aspect of moving my mind first was difficult primarily because of the huge setbacks that I was having, the huge struggles that I was having, but it also went directly against what I grew up and had been using for the last several years in my life, because I was taught move your body, your mind will follow. And so for a long time, the aspect of the law of attraction was a really scary step for me to even look at or understand or begin to use in my life. The other aspect of this was because I grew up in a very Christian and religious home, things like spiritual awakening, things like universal pull, things like moon cycles and that area, the chakra, that genre of spirituality was something that I was super duper uncomfortable with, and was an area that I closed myself off from for growth for many, many years. I did everything psychologically, psychology-based possible to improve my mindset to move forward, but I shut myself off from that spiritual awakening side of things because of my own doctrine, because I believed the way that I believed, and it was actually preventing me from further growth. What I have found in the last several years is that when we go into creating a wealthy mindset and exploring our own freedom, we have to do it with just that, an exploratory mindset, where we can have firm boundaries on what we are against and what we don't want to dive into. I still have some of those today. Something that I don't do is the tarot polling. I don't look at the card pullings. I don't own a deck, and at this point in my life, it's not something that I'm open to in any way, shape, or form. But I am open to listening to meditations on chakra healing. I am open to understanding what my third eye is. I am open to implementing yoga and meditation as part of a spiritual practice that counteracts positively with my religious disciplines. And that was really where I began to grow past my wildest dreams. That's really where I began to truly shine and open up to something I had never thought possible. When I let go of these hard beliefs that I was holding on to, and these hard disciplines that I was holding on to, and moved from doing all of my research and all of my healing in one area and began to put a few different pieces of healing together for me is where I created something really, really special. We have to think, if we're going to create the life of our dreams, it's reasonable to take methods that we already dream of or believe in to do so. But if we want to create the life or mindset beyond our wildest dreams, beyond something that's comprehensible to us, it's extremely important to start putting in methods in our lives that we don't understand right now, that we don't comprehend right now. So my first point that I want to make to you today on this quick video is to tell you that in order to create and sustain emotional freedom and branch out creating that wealthy mindset, in order to unleash your soul fire and begin to live the best life that you can possibly live, let go of some of the fears and let go of some of your attachments to the way that you are currently trying to heal yourself, and open up an exploratory mindset which allows you to add different experimentations in your own life that will aid in your healing. This is absolutely critical when creating a new life for yourself. Letting go of what you thought would work and beginning to put your fingers in to dip your toes in all different kinds of water so you can find what really, really works best for you. And you never know when you go in with an open mind how much healing and how much beauty you can actually find in something that you let go a long time ago or something that you never once discovered before. The next important point that I want to make to you in this video is the importance of consistency. Ladies and gentlemen, we have years of walls that we are trying to break down. We have years of healing to do. And listening to one podcast, one meditation, taking that one pill, or having that one conversation with a coach is not going to be the answer to all your problems. I know that all of our videos, I know that all of our advertisements, I know that all of our programs are advertised in a way that leads you to believe, that leads the market to believe that this is the one thing that you need to do to change your life. And in so many ways, those advertisements are true for us and for the Conscious Collective, because that was the one shift that we took that began to spiral everything. That was the one belief that we put inside ourselves that began to shift everything into something different. So although those videos aren't lying just to market to you, they are true for the person who created them and for the majority who watch them. They are not going to be your one-stop solution for everything. You are going to have to experiment and not only just do it one time. We have to begin to implement a methodology of consistency in our life continuously. We cannot do that one coach. We cannot do that one program one time and expect our entire lives to begin to shift. If you're trying to grow your business to $10,000 a month or 6 figures a year, you're not going to implement a strategy that is a proven strategy to grow your business only one time that year. You're going to implement that single strategy every launch, every post, every advertisement, every single time, every single day in your business to create that residual income. And the exact same thing is true when it comes to creating a wealthy mindset. You're not going to use that one tool or that one tactic or that one coach one single time and begin to see your entire life shift before your eyes. You are going to use that tool on a consistent basis every single day in your life. You are going to use that again and again and again so it begins to create the momentum in your life, that your soul is desiring to have. I remember being in jail many, many years ago, and I remember talking to myself constantly. I worked in the kitchen about 6 to 7 hours a day, and the majority of that time was spent doing dishes and just talking to myself. And I was amazed about how I could go a solid 6 hours without conversation because the conversation in my head was cycling. And at one point this became really damaging to myself. I couldn't figure out how to stop it, and it created a pattern in my life as to where that's where I lived primarily inside of my mind, to where the voices never stopped, and it actually increased my anxiety and my depression tenfold. And I remember beginning to release this and beginning to stop this constant mind cycling for me, and understanding and learning about the power of pivot and being able to shut my mind up right there by intentionally stopping it and shifting the focus of direction. Now, I can assure you, if I did that one time, I would be exactly where I was 12 years ago. I can guarantee you I would be in the same place, because it wasn't the one time that I stopped my thoughts, pivoted, told my mind to shut up, and then created a new intentional thought that did the trick. It was the fact that within a 7-hour span of time, I was doing that pivot, stop, and recreate intentionality 30, 40, 50 times. And that's the little things that the majority of people won't tell you, because we're advertising and we want you to see that it's easy and it's possible. But a huge gap that we're not saying is it's not one time. It's again and again and again. I didn't get better overnight because I learned a bunch of tools. I got better over time because I implemented a bunch of tools in a consistent basis, which changed my life. So when it comes to growing you, when it comes to creating a wealthy mindset and unleashing emotional freedom, power, security, beauty, joy, and soul fire in your life, you need 2 elements which you may not heard about just yet. Number 1, you need to have an exploratory mindset where you begin to experiment with different routes that you haven't personally considered, and you need to make sure that this experimentation is done in a consistent manner. You're not using things one time to see if it works. You're trying things repetitively multiple times a day over the course of 6 weeks to see if it begins to change your subconscious programming and begins to change your life. With all that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Comment your thoughts below, and we will see you again soon.